A quiet, calm figure, simple, in simple robes, rags almost, a plain, simple man. It was a protest, a chosen immolation, a decision planned for. He burned himself to say there were no words, to tell me there were no words. He wanted me to know that in Vietnam there was an agony against which this agony, self-immolation, was nothing, meaningless, minor. He wanted me to know, and I know. He wanted me to remember, and I remember. He wanted the flames to reach me. He wanted the heat to graze me. He wanted this self-immolation, a pain past words to communicate. You devastate us here. A pain past words. The Buddhists didn't want to fight or to hurt someone else, so they killed themselves in ways unbearable to watch, to say this was some small part of the pain we caused, some small measure of the pain we made, an anguish to communicate anguish. Years later I was grown, or nearly so, and there was Norman Morrison, some man, a regular man, ordinary, and he walked in front of the White House, as close as he could get, a normal-looking citizen, and he poured gasoline all over himself, and he lit it, and the police couldn't stop him or get near him. He was a pillar of fire, and he died. Slow, in fire. Because the war was wrong, and words weren't helping. And he said we have to show them. So he showed them. He said, this is the anguish I will undergo to show you the anguish there. There are no words. I can show you, but I can't tell you because no words get through to you. You've got a barricade against feeling, and I have to burn it down. I grew up a stepdaughter of a brazen protest, immense protest. Each time I measured my own resistance against the Burning Man. I felt the anguish of Vietnam. Sometimes the war couldn't get out of my mind, and there was nothing between me and it. I felt it pure, the pain of them over there, how wronged they were. You see, we were tormenting them. In the end, it's always simple. We were tormenting them. Others cared too, as much as I did. We were mad to stop it, the crime, as we called it. It was a crime. Sometimes ordinary life was a buffer. You thought about orange juice or something, and then there'd be no buffer. There was just the crime. The big protests were easy and lazy up against Norman Morrison and the Buddhist monks. I remembered them as a standard. Suppose you really care. Suppose the truth of it sits on your mind plain and bare. Suppose you don't got no more lies between you and it. If a crime was big enough and mean enough to hurt your heart, you had to burn your heart clean. I don't remember being afraid to die. It just wasn't my turn yet. It's got your name on it, your turn, when it's right. You can see it writ in fire, private flames, and it calls. You can hear it when you get up close, you see it, and it's yours. There's this Lovelace creature. They're pissing on her, or she's doing the pissing. You know how they have girls smiling? It's girls touching each other, as if girls would do so, laughing, and she's being peed on, one of them. And there's her throat, thrown back, bared. He's down on the bottom, as far as he can go, as if he were bigger, he'd be in deeper. And she's timid, shy, eager, laughing and grateful and moaning. You know the porn moan. Nothing resembling human life, these stupid fake noises, clown stuff. A sex circus of sex clowns. He's a freak, a sinister freak, a monstrous asshole if not for how he subjugates her, the smiling ninny down on her knees. And after saying thank you, as girls were born for, so they say, there's this Lovelace girl on the marquee, and even the junkies are laughing. They think it's so swell, and I think, who is she? Where is she from? Who hurt her there to put her there? Because there's a camera. Because in all my life there never was a camera. And if there's a camera, there's a plan. And if it's here, it's for money. Like she's some animal trained to do tricks. When I see black men picking cotton on plantations, I get that somewhere there's pain for them. I don't have to see it. No one has to show it for me to know it's there. And when I see a woman under glass, I know the same. A sex animal trained for sex tricks. And the camera that's ready. Maybe Masta's not in the frame. She's someone real. There are Hollywood stars too. She's Times Square trash. There's one of them and there's so many thousands of her. You couldn't tell them apart even when they're in separate coffins. There's these girls here all behind glass as if they're insects. You put morphine into them to knock them out and you mount them. These weird crawling things under glass on display. Times Square's a zoo. They got women like specimens under glass. Block City by Block by city block, cages assembled on cement under a darkening sky, the blood's on it. Wind sweeping the garbage, and it's swirling like dust in a storm on display, lit by neon. They have these creatures, so obscene they barely look human at all. You never saw a person that looked like them, including anyone beat down, including street trash, including anyone raped however many times, because they're all painted up and polished as if you had an apple with maggots and worms. Someone dipped it in lacquer and said, "Here it is, beautiful, for you to eat." As if their breasts were hot air balloons, not flesh and blood, with skin, with feeling to the touch. Instead it's a joke, some swollen joke, a pasted on gag. What's so dirty to men about breasts? So they put tassels on them and have them swirl them around in circles and call them the ugliest names, as if they ain't attached to human beings, as if their party tricks or practical jokes are the equivalent of farts, big vulgar farts. They make them always deformed, as if there's real people, citizens, men with flat chests. They look down, they see their shoes, the standard for what a human being is. And there's these blow-up dolls you can do things to. They have funny humps on their chest. Did you ever see them swirl? A woman stands there like a dead puppet painted, and the balloon things spin. In my heart, I think these awful painted things are women. Like I'm still in my heart of humankind. But the men make them like they're two-legged jackasses, astonishing freaks with iron poles up the middle of them, as if someone smeared them with paint, some psychotic in the loony bin doing art classes, and they got glass eyes with someone's fingerprints smeared on them, and they're all swollen up, as if they've been pushed and hit or stood somewhere in a ring, a circus ring or a boxing ring, and the men just threw things at them, balls and bats and stones, anything hard that would cause pain and leave marks or break bones. They're swollen up in some places, the bellies of starving children, but moved up to the breasts and down to the buttocks, all hunger, water, air, distended. And then there's the thin parts, all starved. The bones show, the ribs sometimes, iridescent skeletons, or the face is carved under the paint. The skin collapses because there's no food, only pills, syringes, Demerol, cocaine, Percodan, heroin, morphine. There's hollow cheeks, sunk in hollow faces, and the waist hollow, shrinking down, tiny bones, chicken bones, dried up wishbones. They're behind glass, displayed exhibits, sex women you do it to. They're all twisted and turned, deformed, pulled and pushed in all the wrong directions, with the front facing the back and the back facing the front, so you can see all her sex parts at once. Her breasts and her ass, the lips of her vagina, purple somehow. Purple. The neck's elongated, so you know how they can take it there too. They're like mules. They carry a pile of men on top of them. They're racehorses. You give them lots of shots to make them run, and if you look at the hide, there's bound to be whip marks. There's not one human gesture. Not one. There's not one woman in the world likes to be hung or shit on or have her breast tied up so the rope cuts in and the flesh bulges out. There's rope tearing into her. It sinks, burning, into the fleshy parts under the rope. It's all cut up and burned deep, the tissues dying, being broke apart, thinned out, and ripped by pressure and pain. If I saw pictures like that of a black man, I would cry out for his freedom. I can't see how it's confusing if you ain't KKK, in which case it still ain't confusing. I'd know it was a lie on him. I'd stand in the street corner forever, screaming until my fucking throat bled to death from it. He's not chattel, nor a slave, nor some crawling thing you put under glass, nor subhuman, nor alien. I would spit on them that put him there, that masturbated to it. I would pillory with stones until I was dragged away and locked up where they was dead. If they was lynching him, I would feel the pain, a human pain. They are destroying someone. And if they put a knife in him, which I can see them doing, it ain't beyond them, by no means, they wouldn't show him coming from it. And if they urinated on him, he wouldn't be smiling. I see black men debased in this city. I see them covered in blood and filth and urine and shit, but I never saw one say cheese for a camera or smiling like it was fun. I didn't see no one taking sex pictures either. I myself do not go through garbage or live on cement to have an orgasm. Be your pet or live on a leash. I ain't painted red or purple. I seen myself how I was after. I seen it in my brain. I wasn't no prize in human rights or no exemplar of human dignity, I would say. As much as I tried in my life, I did not succeed. But wasn't nobody put me under glass and polished me all up as if I was a specimen of some fucked thing, some swollen, painted sex mule, this Linda girl with a throat? Who tormented her? In the end, it's always simple. I paid the dollars to go, to see the film, to see it, if it was true, what they did to her throat. I figured the boy who did it to me must have got it from there because, frankly, I know the world A to Z, and no one banged a woman's throat before these current dark days. I smelled bad, and I was past being a whore, and they didn't want me to go in, but I had the money, and I'm hard to move. Because I'm more intransient now, on cement, hungry almost all the time, hates men, an old woman nearly, hates men, and if you don't have a soft spot for them, you don't have no soft spot. I wanted to see Linda. If she was a creature or a person. I think they are all persons, but you can't prove it. It's a matter of faith. I have this faith, but there's no proof. In the film, she's this nice girl who can't have an orgasm, so they line up hundreds of men to fuck her. All around the block, they just keep fucking her every which way to Sunday to try to get her to have one, and she's bored, which on the intellectual plane would be true. But I fucked that many men. It's a week's worth, not one afternoon, as they show, and no one gets an orgasm from such a line of slime acting as men. But she just smiles and acts disappointed, and there's all this blah blah talk with the supposed girlfriend, a hard-edged whore, by which I mean she's been used so much already there's not too much left of her, and it shows how they've drained her away. They talk about how Linda can't come, and the girlfriend puts a cigarette in her own vagina, and I wanted to reach into the film and take it out. The burning cigarette in her vagina. But it was another joke. It was all jokes. The man around the block, the vagina huffing and puffing on the cigarette so smoke comes out, and the girl Linda's got big bruises all over her legs, real big bruises, high and wide, master bruises, have to be from feet and fists. It ain't in the story. No one hit her in the legs in the story, but someone sure beat the hell out of her all over her fucking legs. I see the bruises. I feel the pain. I've taken such a beating. Perhaps, Linda, we could be friends, you and me, although I'm unsavory now. Perhaps you ain't no creature at all, just a girl, another girl. But they caught you and they put you under glass in the zoo. You're a girl they turned the camera on, but they had to beat you to pieces to do it. Maybe you're just some girl, and then there's this doctor with a big cock who's pleased with himself generally speaking, and he finds out she's got a clitoris in her throat. The big joke. And that's why she can't come from all these other sex acts. So he fucks her in the throat to cure her. He fucks her hard in the throat, but slow so you can see it the whole distance, in and out, the whole big thing to the bottom of her throat. And she don't seem ripped apart. She's smiling. She's happy. Shit, she's conscious. She's alive. Think of it like an iron bar. A place in your throat where there's an iron bar. As if someone goes... And if someone goes past it, it don't give. You choke, you vomit, you can't breathe. And if he goes past it with a penis that stretches muscles that can't be stretched, and he pushes your throat out to where it can't be pushed out, as if the outsides are torn open, you'd rather have a surgeon drill holes in the sides of your throat. The pain will push you down to hell, near death, to coma, to the screamless scream in agony, no voice, a ripped muscle, shreds swimming in blood in your throat, thin ribbons of muscles soaking up blood. But Linda smiles, and the camera doesn't let up, and the penis comes out so we can see how big it is in case we forgot, and it goes down. Her throat stretches like a snake eating an alligator or some boa constrictor with a small animal in it, and the penis pushes hard to the bottom. It's in her neck by now, bumping around her shoulders again and again, and I'm crying myself near to death. The men are rubbing and moaning and ejaculating, and someone's offering me money, and I'm sitting there crying near to death for the girl, because I don't know where the blood is. But I know there's blood. Somewhere, Linda shed blood, and there's pieces of her floating around in it. Linda. They do all the things to her. Glass from the front, from behind, all the things. It's all big jokes and big moaning, the phony moans. Ooh, ah, more and harder, stupid, false moans. You think these men are crazy to think this is a woman moaning in sex, and then there's this guy with the world's biggest penis, and he fucks her throat, and she's in love with him because he's got this giant penis, so he satisfies her at last, completely. A romance. He fucks her throat. He's a cold creep. A sheet of ice descends over the screen. He fucks her throat. He's evil. Even for these men who do these things to women in films, who will do anything, to anyone, present her to him, put her there, lights, camera, action, roll her over. She's tied up like a trussed pig. He says, darling, and there's one decision, just one, and I have to make it. Are we humans or not? The girls under the glass and I, or not? If we are not, then there's these creatures kept properly under glass, because who'd want to let them loose, and the bruises on them or what you stick in them doesn't matter, and they smile because they are sincere. This underglass creature smiles when you hurt it, and you get to use them, and logically, you get to use the 5 infants too, why not? And this girl from Camden too, why not? Because we're apples with maggots too, why not? Maybe this girl Linda really likes it, except there's this iron bar in your throat, and nothing pushes past it without destruction of some sort, this or that. Or why don't they use machine guns or trees, or they will, or they just haven't yet, or how'd they get that Linda girl to do it? Or if we're humans, if we are, the fire's got my name on it. At last, my name's spelled out in fire, and it is beckoning to me, because they are tormenting us. Pure and simple. These men are tormenting us. They just do it as if we are so much trash, and it is simple, and in the end they all get to live no matter what harm they do, or if we hurt, or how much all these guys live. They do. Face it. You can take some actual person and mess her body up so bad it's all deformed out of its real form, and you can shred her, burn her, torture. And it's okay, even funny, even if they do it to babies, or even if they beat you, no matter what they do. It's over, and tomorrow comes, and they go on and on and on, and they don't get stopped. No one stops them. And people just walk by the girls under glass, or just ignore the infants who grow up, the suicidal infants who can't breathe but are trying to talk, or the women who got beat. No one stops them. It's true. They don't get stopped. And it's true, though not recognized, that you do got to stop them. Like stop the war or stop slavery. You have to stop them, whatever's necessary, because it's a crisis, because they are tormenting us. I gave my uncle cancer, but it's too late, too slow, and you don't know who they are, the particular ones, and even if there's laws, by the time they have hurt you, you are too dirty for the law. The law needs clean ones, but they dirty you up so the law won't take you. There's no crimes they committed that are crimes in the general perception because we don't count as to crimes. And I have discovered time and time again, as I try to think of what was a crime to anyone or was anything you could tell someone about so they would care for you, about you, so you was human. But if he did it to you, you know him. I know. This Linda knows. The infants know. The day comes. We know. Each one of them has one of us who knows. At least one, maybe dozens. But at least one. When the Buddhists were burning themselves, you couldn't convince anyone anything was wrong in Vietnam. They couldn't see it. They saw the fire, and you couldn't forget the fire. And I'm convinced that the fire made the light to see by. So later we saw. Now there's nothing wrong either. Nothing nobody can see. Each day all these thousands of people, men and women, walk past the women under the glass, the specimens. They don't see nothing wrong. They don't see no human of any sort, or that it's wrong, that our kind are under glass, painted, bloated cadavers for sex. Eyes open, glassy, staring like the dead, smiling painted lips, purple, lynched or pissed on, or on our knees. I will die to get her off her knees. It's the church to our pain, a religion of hate with many places to pray, a liturgy of invasion. They worship here, the man. Hot girls is Michelangelo's David. Lesbian gangbang, Tintoretto. It's Venice and Rome and Jerusalem and Mecca too. All the art, everything sacred with pilgrims, the service. How I injured her and came. The ancient masses, how I made a perfect penetration. The ordinary prayers. I ran. This is the church here. They worship here. A secular sadism, where we're made flat and dead and displayed under glass. 50 cents a feel for a live one in a real cage. Behind the movies are the places where they keep the live ones they caught. You pay money, you touch it. You pay more money, it touches you. You pay more money, you can hurt it. If you pay enough. You want to cut it up? It costs more money. You want it young? It costs more money. But see, my uncle, a true believer, worshipped at home. So you have to grasp the nature, the true nature of the system. Here is the center. Here is like the transmission center. Here is where they broadcast from. Here is where they put the waves in the air. Here is where they make the product, the assembly line with mass production techniques and quality control, the big time, and they sell it to make it socially true and socially necessary and socially real beyond dispute. It's for sale. In America, it's true. A practical faith for the working man and the entrepreneur, rich man, poor man. It's the nerve center, the Pentagon, the war room, where they make plans, map every move in the war, put the infantry here and move it here, put the boats here and move them here, put the bombs here and move them here, dildos, whips, knives, change, punishments, sweat, strangulation, evisceration. They teach how to teach the soldiers. They teach how to teach the special units. They teach how to teach. They develop propaganda and training films, patriotic films. Here's the target. Take her out. Here's where they make the plans to make the weapons, and here's where they commission the weapons, and here's where they deploy the weapons. It's the church, holy, and the military, profane, backbone and bedrock. There's dogma and rules, prayers and marching chants, sacred rites and bayonets. There's everything from iron crosses to grenades. You pull the pin, stay inside. As long as you have the nerve, pull out, run. It makes a man out of a boy. There's a human being under glass. If you see what's in front of you, you see what's down the road. Someday they'll just take the children. The Pied Piper of rape. They'll just use the children. It's so much easier. How it is now, so difficult, so complex. Fun taming the big ones and seducing them. But the children are tighter, and hurt more, and are so confused, and love you anyway, All the worshippers will be tolerant of each other, and they'll pass the little ones on down the line so everyone can pray. The courts will let them, because the courts have always let them. It's just Big Daddy in a dress, the appearance of neutrality. I've been living in Times Square on the sidewalks. I've seen all the marquees. I studied them. I have 2 questions all the time. Why ain't she dead is one. And why would anyone, even a man, think it's true her all strung out, all painted, all glossy, proclaiming being peed on is what she wants? I do not get how the lie flies, or how they ain't ever made love, or ever seen no one real, or maybe she's dead by now, and they must think it's like you're born a porn thing. On the hospital they take the baby and they say, take it to the warehouse. It's a porn thing. They must think it's a special species with purple genitals and skin made from pale steel that don't even feel no pain. Or they think every girl is one underneath, and they wait until we turn purple from cold, or a thin patina of blood dried so it's an encasement, like an insect's carapace. Carapace. Jesus fucking wept. And they get hard from it, a porn thing, flat and glossy, dead and slick from after they find something resembling the specimen from under the glass, a girl in the rain, 5 infants, some girl. It's like how Plato tried to explain the thing pure, ideal. If you went through some magical fog and came to the whole world of perfect ideas, and there's Linda, taking it whole, and they wander through the pure world, putting 50 cents down there, a cup of feel, and $5 down there, and for 100 you see a little girl buggered, and for 50 you do something perfect and ideal to a perfect whore, some perfect blow-up doll with a deep silk throat and a deep silk vagina and a rough tight rectum, and you could come back through the fog and there's a girl not quite so purple, and she cries if you hang her or brand her or maim her, or even probably if you fuck her in the ass. She don't smile, but you can hurt her enough to make her smile, because she has to smile, because if she don't, she gets hurt more, or she'll try, and you can paint her more purple, or do anything really, put things in her, even glass, or broken glass, and you can get the color you want. You strive for the ideal. Fuck it up, I say the girl's real, but it don't stop him. It don't stop them, and we got to stop them, so I take the necessary supplies, some porn magazines where they laminate the women, and I take the stones for breaking the glass. I will not have women under glass. And I take the signs that say, free the women, free ourselves, and porn hates women, and I take a sign that says, free Linda, and I have a sign that says, porn is rape. And I take the letter I wrote myself that says to my mama how sorry I am to have failed at dignity and freedom both. I say that I'm Andrea, but I'm not manhood, for which, mama, I'm glad, because they have gone to filth. They are maggots on this earth, and I take the gasoline, and I'm nearly old for a girl. I'm hungry. I smell bad, so no one looks at all very much, and I go outside, deep throat where my friend Linda is on the screen, and I put the gasoline on me. I soak myself in it in broad daylight, and many go by and no one looks, and I am calm, patient, gray on gray cement like the Buddhist monks, and I light the fire. Free us. I start to scream, and there's a giant whoosh. It explodes more like wind than fire. It's orange around me, near me. I'm whole. Then I'm flames. I burn. I die. From this light, later you will see. Mama, I made some light.